for the Dino Drive share of paving.
Got it farther down here.
Is that
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I
I didn't know.
Yeah, so
Was it on his report or?
The agenda.
I saw it, that's, see the SCD list specifically.
That's a good question, obviously. No, got all this nice weather. You think
And then we haven't really
Get some
requested the trees yet, that's coming up. Right?
Yeah.
That's in the letter that's in the packet. Got it.
Landscape committee, Gus, how's it going?
Pretty good. I was in Greece while they were doing most of the work. I drove up and down. I think it's a wonderful change. I mean, it's a beautiful change. There's no more trash. The trees are good. I like the trees. The bushes, I can't tell you because it's winter time already, so let's see what comes up in next spring. But they were nice where they were put down.
Do you have a proposal for spring for the other half? Or is it gonna be about the same cost?
First, I ran budget with the one we're doing now.
I think we are,
Or there
It should be.
additional costs or no?
there was additional costs. Again, they put it in October and it was very, very dry.
Right.
And they asked if we should water it, and I said, if it needs watering, I said, we wanna make sure those plants don't die before the spring, so you'll see it in the bill, so we've gotta approve some watering that was done.
Yeah, they should water once or twice.
Yeah, they watered it 3 times, so
3 times, twice. Yeah.
it was like, I said, just make sure those don't die, that's what I said, so.
I think.
And I mean, the price, I think, is, you know, again, we could have called our fire department to water it, get the trucks out and find some bags, cause we got some old bags, but we just said, take care of it, so that's in the bills to pay, but I think it looks great. I get some emails to the DDA system and people are, you know, people really like it. They like the bushes are gone. I think it looks better,
It looks great.
so.
It's clean.
Yeah, looks clean.
It'll be interesting to see how those trees take off and the bushes around them, or the shrubs, but, and I think Sandy, I should have forwarded, she wrote an article about it. I wanted to get it in the newsletter, we might be able to put it, Chris is out there, might be able to put it on our website, kind of just what we did and how we did it, and some reasons, so I'll forward that out after the meeting, I should have brought it, but I thought Sandy would be, she's sick today, but she wrote an article about it, so we'll get that out, promote that. You know, it was good, you know, everybody saw those bushes being cut down, and they called them beaver dams, they look like, you know, trees piled up. So in a way, it created buzz. What are they doing to the boulevard? And we cleaned it up. So it was definitely a positive for the community. And so, Gus, so we'll get I mean, we need to get a proposal soon for.
Well, I'm gonna talk to Chris,
Yeah.
see what he says, and since we're working with him, I might as well, you know, I don't know if you want me to get a proposal from somebody else as well, I can do that. You know, but
All right. So
he's doing most
I
of the
think
work.
it'd be, you know, having the same company do the.
Right, let's work with him.
You know what? And we should, and I agree, I think Scio should do this more, they should get bids for 2 things from everybody. But in the past, like Roy said, I've gotten, for the mowing and everything, we've gotten bids from other contractors, and I think Kate, they've always been the least expensive contractor,
Yeah,
so.
most reasonable ones.
And, you know, they took down the signs before, and she's been very responsive. So.
Get a price for the rest of it and see what,
Yeah.
I'll get a price for the rest of it, see what he says.
Yeah. Let's get it ready to go in the spring.
I'll do it ASAP.
Marketing committee, there's nothing really there. Again, I haven't talked to Scio, but I wouldn't mind us having maybe a little spot in the newsletter. Again, we get a TIF money. I mean, we're a taxing entity. I think the public needs to know what we're doing with their money. So I think a little spot in the newsletter would be good. If you look at the newsletter, there's sometimes some interesting articles and sometimes there's not. So I think us taking a little, maybe a quarter page isn't gonna hurt, you know, in a different perspective.
So the township newsletter, the deadline is the week of the 20th before Thanksgiving. That's when Mary Gillis needs to have any material. So
Next Monday.
So if anyone in the DDA board is working on a article, communicate now with Mary so she knows, and then get it to her by then.
I'm here.
Oh, Mary,
Hi there.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you heard it correctly. Just, I can send out a reminder to
Yeah.
someone on the DDA every quarter. If you'd like to have a piece of the newsletter, the question is, who should it go to?
Maybe marketing, or you want to take
Go
that?
to the, you go to me as secretary and then I can disseminate
Yeah.
it, pass that, so Linda Smith.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about you as if you
Yeah,
weren't
see back
present.
there. And I'll forward you an article we already did on the Boulevard, so if there's room.
You've already created an article? Okay. Great.
Marketing. So next are the new Scio welcome signs that Ryan's been working on.
And I have Mark Shalou, who's going to do the signs for us here, so that way he can answer any questions, since there's some questions that came up last time.
And the sign makers here. So again, Brian, just give a overview of what we're trying to do, where they're gonna go.
Yeah, so ultimately, down at Jackson and Wagner, where there's the current sign, the sign that's in the packet, there's a draft or a mock-up, I guess I call it, in the packet, that would be the sign that would be replaced. I did get from Suave, who's developing Woodview Commons. They're doing a sign on their property itself, down at the other end of the boulevard at Baker and Jackson. That'll be on the inside of their property, pointed sort of at an angle to the road, so you can see it as you're turning through that intersection to the left.
So it would be on it's on the north side of the bridge,
Yeah, the
South side.
south side of the bridge.
on the southwest
Mhm,
side of the bridge.
mhm. So they're doing the sign of the
Southwest.
southeast.
Southeast side of the bridge, but southwest. Sort of
Corner of their
Corner of
property.
the property.
northwest corner of their property.
Their property,
So they're doing a sign of their own creation at that location. So I don't know if we want to duplicate their efforts and also put a sign in the boulevard. That's a question for us as a group. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, especially if they're already gonna have a sign basically right across the street from it. But I definitely think this makes sense to go forward and do down on the other end of the boulevard at Wagner and Jackson. I did talk with Mark and I don't think the Meyer sign is within our purview as far as being able to change or maintain it or do anything to it.
That's their property.
Yeah, but that was the other thing that came up this conversation, but we can have this installed and ready.
So we have a sign on Baker Road, we've got the Meyer sign, and then we've got the sign on Wagner. So there's 3 signs.
So one at each of the major intersections along Jackson.
So where would this go?
They replaced the Wagner sign, right?
Correct.
And would it stay, you've got brick in there, would it stay on the current brick?
Like it staying there.
That brick's been hit before and replaced. Now, that's only about, putting something on a boulevard like that,
Eventually it will get hit by
it's
something.
gonna get hit. It's just time.
Yeah.
We'll replicate the same base on the other end, Baker and Jackson as well.
Yeah, if we want to do the sign at the other end, we could have the same brick used.
That's what I like, is just uniformity on it.
I'm perfectly fine with it. It just was a question since someone had asked me last time and I had seen it as part of Woodview's submittal, since I have the neighboring parcel, I've seen some of their stuff. I think it actually would be nice to have uniformity in both ends, even though they're gonna have their own sign there as well.
Is there a way to sort of position the sign that we would be installing so that it's not right on top of the one that they're doing?
And that's the other piece of this puzzle that I don't know the answer to. I have heard, I know from a DDA meeting and also indirectly some things from Suave that there may be some sort of road work in the coming year or so to redo some of the traffic access for that site.
That is happening.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when it's I would assume next year at this point, because of the time of year, but.
Yeah.
we could certainly move it down, move the Baker Road sign down a little bit further so that way people would see it as they're traveling between Baker Road heading further east into the township a little bit.
Down where, which way?
Probably a little bit more east from the traffic light. I don't know how far. I would have to talk to the road commissioner and determine exactly where they're gonna move the turnaround.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna have to go through the road commission.
That's
process.
that's the downside, yeah.
Again, that intersection there, you do see some car trail tracks right through the middle. You put a sign too close.
And there was a police chase through that intersection a few
Right.
months
I think-
ago, so.
I think we should wait for them to finish up, and once they finish up, we can always take it up again.
Right.
I don't think we should try to figure it out right now, who does what. Okay, we should move on with the sign that we got, that's my opinion, and we wait for that to happen.
Yeah, we can add it later.
Yeah,
Do we wanna make the metal part of the sign since we're doing one sign?
Oh, yeah.
And so we've got it in holding when we're done, or do we wanna come back to it, make it a second time?
I would
A
say,
year
come
from
back,
now, it's gotta sit in somebody's warehouse for a
I would
year.
say we'll come back to it.
You'll hold these prices for a couple of years, won't you?
Okay, so what was,
It would,
what was our thought process on having, the additional sign?
So when someone
A
hits
backup
the
sign.
car.
I don't, seeing what storage costs and we, with the bus shelters and stuff, what we did for storage. I think we should just bite the bullet and buy a new one if somebody hits it.
agree.
And if they're caught, then their insurance company's
Yeah.
paying for it anyway.
Makes
So I
sense.
think we should just replace the existing and the additional new sign and forget about the extra sign.
Oh, is there an extra sign in here? I didn't notice that.
Well, I think they're talking about the one on
There's
Baker.
an option.
Oh,
So it's pricing as an option because I had been asked at our last meeting that because there's traffic accidents that seem to happen, what the price would be, and I had
yeah, who knows?
Mark quoted for us, so.
Some future board may change the logo and then,
Exactly, yeah.
Not in my warehouse.
Alright,
So again, on the proposal here, we got to replace the current sign, which is down on Wagner.
Yeah.
Then the new sign would be closer to Baker Road,
Correct.
and then an additional sign.
That would only be if we wanted to move that as an option
Right.
to hold on to in case the sign were to be hit or damaged.
Which isn't a bad idea.
well, except James advocating that we
Oh,
not
where are we
do
gonna
it.
store it?
Where
Yeah.
we're gonna store it, and what if we
What if we
decide
never
to
need it?
change our sign?
10 years from
What
now,
if
we
we
get a
don't
new
need it?
logo.
And for what it's
You,
gonna
Gus,
cost.
Linda, somebody's got room for a sign somewhere.
What's the lead time to get one? Is it,
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
It's not like people will get lost.
right, no, I mean,
Yeah, I just, anyway.
why don't we get the sign up here that we need to change right now, let's change the sign and we'll figure it out what.
Yeah, we can
Figure it out, yeah, I mean, we don't even know the location of the other one.
So Gus, are you saying just replace the current sign and not another sign?
Absolutely,
Just the one sign?
that's what I would say.
Okay,
And
are
then
you,
wait, and
Jackson
then
to
wait,
Wagner, and we'll.
get that road done and then figure out.
Yes.
That seems fair.
Then we'll figure it out, once that all happens, we'll figure out where it goes, and we get the other sign. What's the point,
Okay.
okay, so that's a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
Are we there?
In the amount of,
Where am I? putting
Any other
this?
discussion?
let's ask our vendor.
So again, we're just gonna replace the sign right now.
Correct.
And then once some roads changes down there, we'll come back and look at the other sign.
That's for 7 to
And
600.
we'll see how the new sign looks on Baker too with the company
Right.
putting in their sign, so,
Am I, this is 7 to 644,
yes.
Correct.
what, did Flasher got into it?
Pardon me?
Did Flasher got into it? Since the last time I talked to you?
Well, what I would suggest on the other side of the sign is you put a little tagline, and we'll do it for the same cost. You could say, thank you for visiting Scio Township, because the one side is gonna be blank as it is right now. It's not a double-sided sign, it's a single face sign.
What does it cost to say, thank you for visiting Scio Township?
You're arguing
Nothing.
nothing
Oh,
concluded.
well, then let's do it.
So we need 7644 plus tax, right?
Yeah.
There's no tax.
And I do, I mean.
Well, that's right. Well, it's on the proposal.
tax?
Will, does he need permits? Sign permit?
Yes,
Does he need a permit?
gonna be-
Anything that goes in the right of way has to go through permitting.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Gotta go through legal.
Wait, what about replacing an existing sign?
it probably has to go through too.
Well, let's just do it in the project.
Gotta go through permits.
I don't know why you
Could we-
have
It's
to.
like what we
2
made
years
the
for the
road
bus
commission come to
shelters.
the planning commission.
Yeah, Mark McCulloch, I think he'll
Yeah, Mark, yeah.
he'll help us out.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, do you get permits for replacing signs?
Yes.
Okay, well then, there you
Just get a
go.
permit to replace it.
Get a permit to replace it, and there's no tax on the township, so.
Bill us,
uh,
okay. Okay,
Beautiful.
I second that,
Thank you.
I second,
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Motion passes.
Do you need to,
Do you need a
think we have to
deposit?
do a roll call because of money.
Roll
Yes.
call.
yeah, we need a roll call.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
Gus.
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
Linda.
Yes,
Bob, yes. Do you need a deposit? 10%?
50.
50%.
Says it right here.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Small print. All right.
And a new truck,
especially for
That'd
government.
be nice. I think that, again, I think the boulevard's looking good. The signs will be a
Yep.
nice
I
feature,
agree.
you know. Elevates. Hopefully that increases, right? Property taxes and people and so it's good. Oh, good. All right. Now to this, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for coming. So the DDA updated plan that we've talked about for a year. Jennifer's again has gone through this, I don't know how many times. And it's really,
It's not your fault.
I mean, we're just tweaking it. We're updating it from 2006. We're not saying, you know, businesses in this community has to do X. We're not telling them what to do. You know, if there's any group here that I think needs to let market forces dictate what goes on, I think it's the DDA, so. The maps have been updated. There's been a little bit of changes in the language. We don't really have a big direction for the next 10, 20 years on there. Again, we had I think it was phase 4 or 5, going down the boulevard even farther, which we pulled back from. So I'll let Jennifer explain any changes or updates. And I'd like to get this updated. Yeah.
Obviously, we updated all of the charts and maps and whatnot, and any other tables that had some sort of data in it. And then the big thing was just the strategies and value that the DDA brings to Scio, so that's on page 23. And the big things that we talked about was safety, attractiveness, and then utility. And it was broad with the intention that if we did something came up through strategies, direction, et cetera, we can then hone in on something, which I would say is somewhat typical. And then I did update, I don't know why, Linda, it printed in PDF, but it's 8.5, 11 here, so
Super.
we'll be good.
I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Thank
Adding
you
a
for your
footnote
eyes.
on the bottom of it didn't change.
So what was the correction, Linda?
I asked if we could put a footnote on the bottom of the page near the page number that said revision of the current date.
Good.
So it was clear that this was the new plan as opposed to an old one, because there's a lot of similarities.
Right. And then the only other question, which just because it's taken so long for us to get here, to get into a final form, is all the data is from 2022. And it's 2023. Are we okay with the revision is still, I still have it and it's November of last year.
Yeah, it
because
hasn't
that's when it
approved
was. That's when it was accurate,
And the title of this plan is
2022.
2022.
DDA plan.
Oh, looking.
Word master.
Downtown development and tax increment financing plan. Same as the previous.
Any questions?
You have the current and the proposed changes? You have the proposed changes, or you propose it?
They're in here.
It's been out there for a year.
Do you want to read? If you want to, I can send you the old one.
I would. If you don't mind.
Yeah, no.
We sent it out 5 times.
Yeah.
We said it now 5 times, but it's a long document. It is a long document.
Very long. It's 81 pages.
But it's good. It's kind of interesting read because it's got when this DDA
That is
started
true.
in
Yeah.
We
81.
have a summary.
Yeah,
Summary of the changes.
the changes are highlighted. And again, they're minor changes, but
Just kind of honing in, I think, making what we support a little bit more,
Okay,
I wouldn't say specific, but focused.
the highlighted.
okay.
Good, all in favor? Do we get to,
We'll
do we
get a
get to
motion for a motion to
be
approve
done
it.
with?
I'll make a motion to adopt calling it properly, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong page again.
2022.
The 2022 Downtown Development Tax and Increment Financing Plan
That's what it was before.
as revised.
Second.
Second, Gus.
Thank you, Linda.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, fabulous.
With all the time you spend on it.
It's a lot of wait time.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll change
It
the,
was good. It was a good practice. We looked at what we're doing, what other DDAs do in Michigan. It's all across the board. So, and again, that's why I think it's good not to lock it in, to be flexible. So we have more innovation style,
Yeah.
less restrictions. That's what I think, the DDA is after, so.
and I'll change the title of it, does say DDA Strategic Plan 2023. I'm gonna change it to what the title is in the document to avoid confusion.
And then, yeah. We'll post it on there. Thank you. Next item, the Scio planning meeting is December 2nd. I just put that on to remind you.
Really the second?
It is the second.
Saturday?
And
Saturday?
yes,
It's on Saturday.
it's a Saturday. I'm gonna be in, hopefully Indianapolis, but,
It's kind of like a retreat.
and I
If we
think, I don't.
can we go and listen, or
Who-
what's the,
Yeah, since.
Well, I was
Doesn't sound
invited,
like
so
we
I
did-
tried to invite all you.
Doesn't sound like.
And I think I forwarded it out to everybody in that
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't think the intent was to have the entire DDA board come. I think it was,
Well,
the
it
idea
sounds-
was to invite chairs, but I could be misunderstanding.
I thought, the public's invited to it, I heard.
But as members of the public, you're welcome to come. But I think the idea was that the work, the discussion was going to involve chairs of different advisory boards.
We don't get to participate in that.
I'm not gonna be here, so if there's anybody that wants to go as a
I'll
delegate.
be there.
Right, is that all right?
Yeah, it's
Are you
not a
okay?
free-for-all though, it's just.
Not yet.
Good, I'm glad, it seemed like it was a
Probably,
free.
probably.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Someone's
invitation
going.
seemed like a free.
It's, you know what, it's Joy, the township manager this is her thing that she's organizing, so I don't wanna step in
Wait.
and assert something I don't know. So I would check with
Okay,
Joyce Parker.
I'll check and get back to you guys and let me know that if you are gonna attend officially.
This is the planning, basically, they're gonna set us down and tell us what they're going to tell us what we have to do.
There's a
The
facilitator.
planning czar and their group,
There's a facilitator, a consultant that the township manager has proposed that the board approved to lead us through a process on December 2nd, starting in the morning, working into the
this is the
afternoon.
trustees and planning commission.
It's the trustees, it's not just a planning commission, this is not a planning per se exercise, it's a strategic planning for the township exercise that the township manager is putting forward, and so I don't wanna get too far out of it.
Just
ahead of my skis here.
I'm sure you're looking forward to it, so we'll let.
It's a 7-hour meeting.
Yeah.
As a point of clarification, is that happening at somewhere other than the meeting hall? Because that's also been a question that was raised. Do you know the answer to that yet, Will?
I think they've got another location, and I believe that's on the agenda for
For tomorrow.
us, tomorrow.
I'll circle back on that, but if there's somebody that'd like to attend,
I'll go, Jake can go.
Can you
I'll be
report back to us, Ryan?
I'm sure they're
make it
gonna,
alive?
They'll video, I'm sure they'll video it.
Future sustainability, that's about, 7 hours a day.
Well, but it might be nice to have a small report about it
Yeah,
in
it would
next
be.
month's, or in the next
In
meeting,
the next month.
It'll be televised, so we'll see.
January meeting.
Okay.
If you can't.
Good.
It's gonna be recorded, right, Will?
I believe so, I don't know.
It's a
7
public-
hours
It's a public meeting if
of-
trustees are there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Budget planning for next year. Sandy, when is this due?
I would like, yes, we'll have to approve it at the March meeting. So at the January meeting
Right.
is when we'll have the discussion of
So that's
what you want in and what you don't.
why I put it down now, just to start thinking about it. Look at the budget. I'll forward it out again for next year.
It'll be on the 8th, correct? The
Right.
January meeting?
And again, you know, the trustees approve our budget, so we gotta send it to them to get approved, so. And you know, it's a good time to do it. Look, let's not wait till the last minute. Look at it ahead of time. That's the only reason I put it down there. Discussion items, maintenance of responsibilities of the boulevard. So again, there's been talk of us taking care of some of the maintenance responsibilities on the boulevard. When the DDA built the boulevard, we did cover the mowing expenses, the maintenance. Once the road commission handed it back to us, you know,
Took over.
the elected official at the time took over, said that we can't pay for the maintenance, and took it back over. And I guess Washtenaw gave us a pot of money, or gave Scio a pot of money to manage that, which is still around, there might be 6 to 8 years left to manage that cost. But the question,
Scio Township, or.
Washtenaw Road Commission gave Scio money to manage that.
To manage the maintenance on the
Yes.
boulevard?
When there was,
So we have that left,
Yes.
and the
yes,
trustees control it,
Yes.
so we're out.
Let's just, we're just, okay.
Sandy,
I don't really make a decision that much.
maybe let Sandy explain.
when they had to do a total take of some of the businesses. And they took out the space they needed, and then when they sold the remaining space of land to neighboring businesses, they gave the township that money for the express purpose of maintaining the boulevard. There's
I was there, I
about,
was on that committee, yeah, I was there.
yeah,
So,
Is there a name of that fund? Is it like
it's in
line item
the,
number?
it's in the public improvement fund.
Public
Which I'm not sure what the fund number is, because we just went through chart of account
You don't have those
conversion.
numbers memorized?
I did, it was 245, but the numbers have all changed, so.
So, but so there's money there to manage it. I think the question really is, should we, or, you know, I think we could. Again, you look at DDAs out there, but should we, you know, is that, you know, if you look at the purpose of a DDA, it's not to maintain, it's to improve, beautify, help with economic, you know, growth. Those are the things that DDA is supposed
Actually,
to
in this statute, it's allowed for, and it's expected for DDAs to maintain things that they create.
if they own,
Well,
if they own, we don't own it.
let's not, you know, get into an argument around it.
No,
I mean, the fact is, I
Sure.
checked with
Allows
the,
us-
I checked with the township attorney, and
Sure.
it's perfectly legal, and there's nothing in statute that prevents a DDA from maintaining things, and in fact, many DDAs do maintain things.
They do.
And
They don't
do own
we
it.
cross, this DDA crosses the line into maintenance of capital, you know, investments all the time.
But many DVOs own parks, they own ice rinks, they own buildings. You know, for instance, they need to maintain, for instance, if we had a total taking and we owned a building for a while before we got rid of it,
I
and
don't
we
think-
need to maintain that,
I don't
I'm not
think-
sure we're allowed to maintain things that we don't own.
Well, you are, this DDA is, and DDAs do all the time. I mean, the DDA in Ann Arbor, for example, doesn't own the sidewalk, but it certainly invests a lot of money in the sidewalks and streets in Ann Arbor.
It's capital improvements.
Well,
The money that we have
Which
now,
is
you
different
said,
than maintenance.
the money you say we have for 8 years, what is that for, maintenance?
Yes,
So why are we talking about maintenance? We got money for 8 years. So why don't we wait 5, 6, or 7 to go on and talk about after that?
That's
I mean,
logical
if they have-
to me.
if they have the
This is
money right now-
discussion, this is good, we're just discussing
well,
our
if they have the
our
money-
options.
Mr. Chairman, if they have the money for 7 or 8 years, I think, we better go through that before we start talking about, about this. So I don't think there's a reason for us to talk about it right now.
Linda.
So with the estimate of 7 or 8 years, is that assuming the same level of mowing that KVK and the existing contract price has been charging? But this year we had extra mowing because we had an extra wet summer. I mean, is there anything else that can deplete that? I know that Jessica Flintoff was concerned because this fund has not got any other way to get more money into it. Once it's spent, it's spent.
Correct, but so it's not 8 years, it's 6, it's 5. Do we really want to talk about for 6 years from now, what we do?
The treasurer apparently does.
My question is just looking at the big picture, what is Scio's responsibilities? I think it
Well,
would
the
be
second question is what exactly what
maintenance,
Jay says.
utilities, like, those are the things they should be focused on, the betterment of the community all the way around. Sometimes I think we get on other avenues that maybe shouldn't be the focus. Now, that we're not on that board, it's not me, I'm not an elected official, but that's what I think. So I think by us taking off, we're really taking Scio's responsibilities by doing that, by taking that on as maintenance. That's really Scio's responsibility, but again, it's not something we own.
Correct.
That's just my.
I don't have a problem with participating in the maintenance if we're allowed to. And right now, we're getting a millage, right, still? The township wide, we get part of the township mill, that's done.
That's done.
Road millage is done, okay.
Yeah,
Sidewalks.
you're talking about the road SAD?
Yeah.
Yeah, that expired there's a disagreement about it, when exactly it expired, but it stopped collecting money. And we're now refunding what it
That's right.
had in surplus, so don't think of that as a source of revenue.
And it was an SAD, so the DDA didn't get any of it.
Yes.
My concern, and I know I bring this up every time we discuss this, is the sidewalk along Jackson Road between Meyer and Wagner Road. And there's just, the DDA doesn't maintain it, the township doesn't maintain it, so it just doesn't get maintained.
Sidewalks
I
are the
mean-
responsibility of the business or the residential owner whose frontage they cross.
I think maybe having an enforcement officer will help. Talk to those businesses directly and say, look, these are your responsibilities.
What's your concern, Linda? What did you see that needs to be done?
Every year when we have snow, it's trodden down into ice, and there's a number of people that actually walk that sidewalk because that is their main means to get to food from Scio Farms Estates. And it is
Treacherous.
3 inches of ice that is, with snow that falls on top of it for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. You see mothers pushing strollers and, children chasing after mothers.
What's the suggestion of what we do?
Someone needs to take responsibility for it. The township does not do it. I agree, it's supposed to be the property owners. We haven't had a good, strong enforcement officer, but it's a travesty, really. It's the bottom of that. That particular sidewalk is serving some of the lesser privileged people in Scio Township, and it is their only way back and forth.
Other than a bus.
Yeah.
So is there, I think.
The bus does not go to
There
Scio
isn't
Farms
really
Estates.
a bus that goes
Thought Wave did.
past Meyer.
Thought Wave did.
Wave, that's true, Wave.
Wave picks them
is
up
the
and
sort
brings
of
them to Meyer.
supplementary bus service to the AATA, but it's
They
not
stop
like it's not the same. Pardon?
They do stop at Meyer, yeah.
Well, how are you gonna maintain the sidewalks, the new sidewalks, the pathways? Who's gonna clean those?
Well, so there's sort of 2 different types of sidewalk that you're talking about. The sidewalk along Jackson, most sidewalks in most of the neighborhoods that have sidewalks in Scio Township, those are sort of regular, like 5.5 feet with sidewalks. And those are the responsibility of the people, the property owners along whose frontage they go. And then you have things like the zebra road pathway, which are non-motorized pathways. And our TAP committee years ago, when it existed, kind of identified certain sidewalks as being part of a pathway network. And we've never really sorted out what that means in terms of maintenance. But we have stepped up to, or are trying to step up to, the responsibility for keeping the zebra road pathway clear. But I think what Linda's pointing out is it's not just a matter of seasonal snow removal. There's also, we have stuff sort of growing over some of sections of the Jackson Road sidewalk. And the lifespan of the sidewalk is now sort of coming due, and some portions of it are starting to need replacement. And so I think it is a larger issue. It's a bigger conversation, I think, than simply who's gonna remove the snow.
Yeah, Jay. I was assigned a job many years ago to try to find someone that would perform on a subscription basis snow removal on the sidewalk, similar to what Hanover Snow Removal does in many neighborhoods in the city of Ann Arbor. And I went on called several companies, and there was really no interest. Not sure why there was no interest for a landscaping company or whoever to have a subscription basis where they can get all the addresses and sign the property comes up. So, I would suggest that it be handled by a special assessment district. Basically, I own property in Parkland Plaza, as you all know, and we had a special assessment for our road. At the time, I suggested there be a special assessment for keeping the sidewalk and the pathway clear. And when I sat on the Transportation Alternative Planning Committee, that was a question I always brought up is, okay, we're gonna build pathways, who's gonna maintain them, who's gonna keep them clear? And gee, you're gonna budget for all that, and are you reaching too far and too deep with building pathways? So I don't know how they're gonna be maintained long-term, because DDA is gonna go away at this point, at a certain point. And, an SAD, whether they issue tickets or a subscription or however they're gonna do it. So I'm just curious, because I agree, they're not done. How, for instance, how many of you have ever walked like from Scio Township over to Meyer? Or rode a bike? It's scary. How many of you rode a bike down Jackson Boulevard on the sidewalk, because the bike lanes in the road are kind of scary? I've done all three of those, and to get that winter thing is just treacherous. I agree. So what do you think? Would there be any, would the trustees be willing to move forward with a special assessment district for sidewalk maintenance and snow removal?
I don't know. It's a question that hasn't been asked.
Because all the businesses not on the boulevard, for instance, have to pay to have the road repaved. The people on Jackson Boulevard don't. They got rewarded for having property on the boulevard when we built the boulevard. And they were paid.
Some of them.
Not only do they get a front and center address on a boulevard, but they also got paid for
anything that they had to give up.
Some
for
lost
right away.
property, but.
So now this is the responsibility that came with that benefit that they were rewarded 25 years ago.
Well, actually, Jay, you just made a good point. In a sense, the Jackson Road corridor already has a special assessment district. It has the DDA. And so tax revenue is being captured for the purpose of being reinvested in that district. And if the DDA wanted to turn its attention to this question of pedestrian improvements, maintaining them, keeping the sidewalks, up, whether it's, seasonal or, the replacement of sidewalk that's breaking up, I think that's a legitimate thing for the DDA to focus on. Especially it's something to think about as we're going into the budget for next year. And in a way, it makes a case for keeping the DDA in existence. If the DDA has that kind of purpose of looking at whether it's sidewalks or anything else within the DDA that needs maintenance and improvement and, you know, investing in it, then it's doing what a DDA in my opinion ought to be doing.
So the city of Ann Arbor imposed a millage for sidewalk maintenance. And after years of many of us getting bills for, you know, having a 1-inch bump in your sidewalk, they can replace it, send you a bill or whatever, you can do it yourself. But they did it by a millage. And I'm just curious if, you know, maybe we do want to take on doing the sidewalk repairs. But I have to say, I'm against doing the sidewalk, the snow removal on the boulevard as part of the DDA. I think they could just mushroom out of control. And if that's the case, we need to do it. We need to do it in Parkland Plaza. We need to do it wherever else there's sidewalks and bike lanes. And I don't think we want to undertake that kind of a huge project.
Maybe it's the commercial districts, or, you know, commercial part of the DDA district or something like that, because obviously the
What about
DDA
the
district.
residential? I mean, there's residential stuff.
Well, that's
in
what
the
I'm
DDA
saying,
district too.
and that's why I'm making the distinction, because I think you raised a good question again. How much of the DDA district would you want to bite off, to, you know, do that, to take on that kind of responsibility? And maybe, you know, there's a distinction between commercial areas and non-commercial areas. I mean, that with the thing that you referenced in Ann Arbor covers the entire city. So it's all the residential neighborhoods. It's not just the DDA district.
Might be not a good thing for me, but if we, I mean, I probably have the most sidewalks on Jackson Road, so I maintain them and snow remove and salt them all the time, so why are we beating this thing to death? If every property owner is supposed to do what I'm doing, then why are we keep bringing this up? If this is the ordinance of the township, so I have.
They're not all good citizens like you.
Well, it's not with citizens,
But
it's a
can
matter of
it- can we do
responsibility,
a
same reason you cut the
season
grass every.
Of enforcement season.
Okay.
That's exactly.
So
see
what
what
we're beating it to
happens.
death, you know, I mean, I got 2,000 feet of sidewalk on Jackson Road, if not more. Okay, so therefore,
And again, I think it's, you know, we just need to reach out to these, most of them are gonna say, yeah, we'll take care of them, we're
Okay.
trying to
Do you-
increase
can we give
pedestrian
them a list
traffic,
of
we need to clear.
Offenders to call.
you know what I'm saying?
Well.
We know exactly what.
We're taking care of it, so why are we supposed to have some, I mean, I don't mind you guys doing it and paying for it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
thank you very much, but you know what? It's part of the snow removal, okay? It's part of my maintenance, the same as cutting grass and throwing the snow, okay? So on the parking lot, so I think it's,
It's outsourced. You have it outsourced, I assume.
yeah, absolutely. So I think that all that needs to be done is, there needs to be enforced. I agree with that. There's people that walk, I don't know how many people walk, I'm a Jackson Road more than most of you. I'm gonna find out this year, I'm gonna put a camera. So you know what, they need to be done.
Good, yep. So for the maintenance out, and Rebecca forwarded me the bills from KDP, so I'll forward that to everybody, the cost out there.
Okay.
And we'll see what the balance of the fund is and see if it's gonna last 6 to 8 years.
Okay.
So give us a little more time to discuss that. And then I think we'll invite Sean, the new enforcement officer, to our next meeting.
There you go.
And welcome him to the DDA.
Would
Have him with some questions.
May KBK be interested in, do they do snow removal?
They do.
Yeah.
Would they be interested in maybe doing the, you know, they have that machine?
Of course they are.
I mean, no, I mean, they have a machine, but by subscription. You know, in other words, if you want to subscribe, you can
Yeah.
subscribe. If you want to have someone else do it, you have someone else do it. But yeah, I mean, Amber snow removal blowing through with Jeeps and brooms on the front. It's not as good as it could be, because they tend to do it after it snows and it gets slushy and then it turns ice anyway. But, you know, they have that machine.
Gus, can you ask him?
Yes, I can do
You're
that.
gonna talk to Chris anyway, so.
I'm gonna talk to,
Because
I'm gonna talk
we
to,
can get a list, we can get a
I'll
list.
talk,
of all the
I'll
owners.
talk to him today. That way-
Go ahead, Gus, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, go ahead. I'm gonna talk to Chris.
My concern, after listening to a number of Board of Trustees meetings where they're talking about the budget and looking towards the budget for 2024 for what Board of Trustees is going to approve township-wide, is that there is a very strong feeling that from certain members of the township board that DDA should be paying for the mowing on the boulevard. And that they don't wish to put that item as a line item into the Scio budget for 2024. They want DDA to take it. I think a statement needs to be made somehow to the board that says, we have discussed it. Because otherwise it's just sort of a ball in play and it's not been addressed. There is an April deadline for the Scio budget, so I think in January, we should come up with a resolution or something that we're issuing to the board that says the DDA is not going to pay for the mowing. And then
And we might consider it a later time, so
How much money's left in that?
I'll get
we
you,
don't know.
I'll get you that this afternoon.
Because apparently they aren't aware of it.
No,
They're
They're
aware.
aware.
Oh, they just want,
They wanna use their money for something else, so have us pay for things, so I just think it's
what are they gonna do with
Sal's
that- what are they gonna do with
responsibility.
that fund? It's just, they're just gonna
Although-
shift it and use it somewhere else.
Yeah, that's
Although
what,
I'm
that's it,
confused if it's a restricted fund, how they could use it. for
it's all about,
something.
shipping it to something else,
Send
so
it.
But that's a new mark fund, isn't it?
it should be.
Okay, if it's a new mark fund, they cannot use it for anything else.
Yeah, right.
Look at the tree fund though, Gus.
They might use it, they might try to use it for the, the pathways.
Okay,
Have us take care of that, and then,
alright,
who knows?
so next item.
So we'll put in that,
Yeah.
we're tabling it, that's good, we should let them know.
Let's put something in the January agenda that we need
I
to make a
agree with you.
specific, I don't know if it's a resolution or a statement of intent or what it is, but
Yeah,
Good. All right, on the back page, landscaping project, we already talked about this, Gus is taking care of that. Enforcement of signs and blight and DDA, we kind of discussed that. And again, we'll have Sean, the new guy, come, and just talk to him, see how he's gonna help us, but I think, again, having a person do that, I think it'll be a huge improvement.
That is one of the things that we talked about with him recently, was you're talking about the little signs that pop up in the right of way, yeah.
And again, 90% of people are fine, if I call them or say, you can't, they don't even know, they know they can't put a sign.
no.
They don't know. And then let's go to the budget, and cash flow and financial statements.
I gave you the 2023 expected tax revenues. So we're gonna get,
Yes.
Two of those. So Sandy's gonna go through these. One thing that kind of talks about landscaping, again, Jay helped me write a letter to the trustees about using the tree fund for the trees that we're putting on the boulevard. At about $16,000, right? Yeah, 16,200. So I think, Will, is that gonna come up at the next meeting?
It's not gonna come up tomorrow night, but we can put it on the agenda for the meeting, the second meeting in November.
Okay.
I mean, it may come, I don't have control over what comes up, but it's not on the agenda, I should say, I should clarify.
Can't put it on the
Who has
agenda?
control of what comes up? Who has control?
Yeah, exactly.
So the draft agenda is presented to the board at the beginning of the board meeting and they approve it. And sometimes they make changes. So the board as a whole has control over what's on the agenda in that sense, but what's proposed on the agenda is the township manager and the supervisor putting that together and putting it forward. But there's lots of people who contribute to it. This just wasn't on it.
Just trying to learn.
And again, I saw the new developments going in, gave money to the tree fund. I want the new.
The Lithia?
Yeah.
So yeah, so you probably have seen driving along Jackson, that they're starting to move earth for the Lithia project. And that did result in the loss of trees that they couldn't replace on site, and I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $170,000 going into the tree fund. So given what the tree fund already had, plus what Lithia is paying into it, the tree fund has a significant sum of money, and there's work going on right now to come up with a policy for dispersal of those funds, for use of those funds, which we've lacked. We've lacked the policy, we haven't lacked the funds.
Yeah. Good. All right, back to the budget numbers. Excuse me. Any questions for Sandy? Again, I think it's a great time to look at these, prepare ourselves for the budget coming up. Total assets, again, $25 million, which does seem, it's a lot of numbers. But again, the road itself is on our spreadsheet as an asset, so that's why it looks like that. So you got tons of money in the law. Most of it's in asphalt. I did call around, just because I do that, looking for CD rates and things. So large amounts need cedars, it's called, which is a way to get more protection for municipalities. A lot of these banks now don't do cedar funds. So all our money's still at Bank of Ann Arbor and money markets, not making a ton, but
What
it's
is,
safe.
what are we getting at, like Bank of Ann Arbor?
Nothing.
Can we put any of this into MI class or no?
You can, yes, you can.
Because MI class has a NAV of 1 and it's paying out like over 5%.
Is it cedars?
No, class is a whole different, it's just for municipalities, it's a whole different thing.
Right.
But Donna has
Donna has money in class.
several million invested in that through different township funds.
Okay.
So, I know Bank of Ann Arbor in that money market, that 1.8 million is earning less than 2%, where class is paying 5.
Yeah, class is paying 5
As long
and
as
its NAV is 1, and it's got daily withdrawal ability. I mean, it's liquid as a money market.
Check it.
5.534 is daily yield today.
If you guys wanted her to move some of that money, it would just be, tell her to do that.
I mean, I think that would be
Should,
wise.
Should. So again, look at the cash and equivalents up top. Bank of Ann Arbor money market, we got 1.8, 2.9 in the checking. Again, on the road itself, the bond, I think is how much? 700,000 a year.
The bond payments are a little over $1 million a year.
So if we were to pursue Ryan's suggestion, we would need a vote to ask the treasurer to look into
Or
that
just
as an
move it.
investment, or just move the money.
I mean, again,
That's cash flow wise.
if it's if it's liquid like that, it's no brainer, so.
I mean,
Any parameters as to when you can move it in and move it out?
in class, no. No,
So why,
we can move it out when we need it. So I think that would be a really good move to make.
cumbersome, not cumbersome?
Check this out sometime, it's fun to look at.
It's not cumbersome to move it back and
No.
forth.
No, it's
Simple
pick up the
transfer.
So
phone.
how much can we?
I say we, let's try it, let's move $1 million over.
I would strongly recommend you move more than that.
I mean, I would substantially say you wanna move almost all of it, you could keep $50,000 to $100,000 for your operating cash.
Right.
But considering that most of our expenses are pre-planned and this has liquidity that's literally within a day or two,
And the risk?
this is,
Well,
I think it's about it's not FDIC, but
but
it's
you're
about
going to
as safe as
AAA
you can
rated
take
by
it.
how much do we have in bank?
You got 4.8 million, if this number's
We
right.
shouldn't be doing that either.
I understand.
It's gotta have cedars though, if it's municipalities. Because again, I showed Spalding all these different options and just because cedars, it just shut everything down.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when I was treasurer of DDA, when I took over, it was just in an account at that time, Ann Arbor Commerce Bank.
Sure.
And I got everything put into equivalent of Cedars.
Yeah. So you wanna move 3 over? If it's as flexible and it's got
It's flexible.
FDIC or Cedars protection, which it should.
Well, no, it's not
It's
going
gotta
to,
have something.
it's gonna have the 250,000 limit that all banks have, I think.
That's what Cedars does, it raises that.
Well, see, what Cedars does though is Cedars takes your $3 million and it goes fines enough banks to give them each 250,000. This is not that.
Okay.
This is, it's in class, they pay you 5%. I've never heard any issues with,
Class was an
Getting it
interlocal
back.
agreement between public agencies created back in 1991. So it's set up by the state government, but generally the authorized instruments that you can invest in, they can invest in, US Treasury bonds, bills, notes, obligations of an agency of the United States, and commercial paper that's A clause. So. Yeah, I mean, Lhasa has money in class, Scio Township has money in class, Pittsfield Township has money in class, a bunch of different municipalities around here do. I was sitting through a Lhasa meeting, and that's when this came up, is they were talking about where they had money at the time. And it's like, why aren't you using class? Because you're getting 2% here, and class is at at that day, I think it was 5% or 5.1, now it's at 5.4. Just seems like, even if we only want to do $1 million to start and you want to move more money.
I think we should move,
I
we
think,
should move the max that we can, because it's a liquid, it's flexible. What's the difference of $1 million and $3 million, you know?
I'm just concerned about the protection. I mean, I agree, like, there's, we can beat these.
Well, if you
numbers
consider
easy.
the protection, then you should only move 250 then. You know, not $1 million.
I mean, we just gotta verify it all, that's all.
Yeah, okay.
I say,
Yeah.
if we have the protection, which I think, because Scio's already using those funds, so I hope they're protected. If we have the protection like we think, is offered by Bank of Ann Arbor, similar to Cedars, not exactly the same thing. Let's move, how much you wanna move? You wanna move 2.5 or 3?
$3 million.
It's 3 million.
Okay, so that motion.
Yep. Yeah.
Somebody needs to actually
Right.
create that to be a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I think
Make a motion to move 2.9 million, so $3 million to the fund. Out of 5.5%, is that what it is, right?
Yep.
Good.
Well, we put at 5.4% into the motion and then it changes to
It's
4.8.
It's simplest to say, I think
I don't think we
maybe
want to
amend
state
it
a
to
rate.
say
Right, don't state a rate.
$2.9 million to the Michigan class fund. Yeah,
Yeah, whatever
it
they
can
do.
literally be that
Correct.
simple.
If you make the motion, I'll second the motion.
And it is insured?
Correct.
That's what we're gonna just verify, but, okay.
as long as there's a
If
motion.
Donna's putting it there, it's gotta be
There's a
insured.
second.
Got a second?
Pending the verification of.
Gus.
So who
Ryan.
seconded? I'm sorry, Ryan?
Ryan and
I think it's the
Gus.
other way around. Ryan made the motion, Gus is seconding the motion.
Okay, so we're making a motion to instruct the Scio Township treasurer to move funds from our 494000 dash, our checking and
yes, it would
money
come up,
market both
yes.
in the amount of $3 million to the Michigan class fund from the existing Bank of Ann Arbor accounts.
Mhm.
Is there more to it?
Do we need you on a pending?
I just say, how would you word that? Just,
Pending verification of
pending
security.
verification
Of
of
security.
insurance, federal insurance. Similar to Cedars. Those in favor say aye.
It's a money one.
Motion
Oh,
passes.
yeah, you gotta do a roll call
Roll
though.
call.
Yes.
When you do that, does it go down to do that?
No, I can't do
Does
it.
go to the treasurer.
It would go to the treasurer, yeah.
All right, Ryan,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Gus, Will,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Bob, yes, good. Thank you.
Okay, so all I have for bills is, two. One to Benzinski and Company for the continuing disclosure that keeps us eligible to sell bonds. That bill is being split 50-50 with the Scio's water fund. And then you have the tree watering to KBK. And then we're gonna add the 50% deposit for the new sign.
Move to pay the bills as presented.
Second.
As amended.
Right, all those in favor say aye.
I think you need a.
There's a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Ryan,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Jay, Gus, Will,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Bob, yes, thank you. Good.
I'm sorry, so who was the first and the second on that motion?
Jay and I seconded.
Thank you.
Real quick, looking at old business, we didn't talk much about it, but again, the DDA, the road committee is supposed to talk about projects for next year. Hopefully we'll start looking at that before Washington Road Commission just drops down the money and then asks us to make a decision in 2 weeks. Poster signs, we'll talk about next meeting. Again, extending the DDA, we haven't done it yet. I think the DDA still has.
That road thing.
What exactly was the motion? I'm sorry.
To pay the bills as amended?
Was amended, we added.
What's that, Jay?
I went back up, we talked, I always like to read the minutes of the previous meeting, and there was discussion about having the trustees present an SAD to Dino Drive. I'd just like to, wonder where we are with that.
Well,
We're all looking at
there
you.
was discussion and I reported it as part of my report at the subsequent board meeting. And so they heard it. They heard that the DDA is interested in pursuing that as a means of paying for the repaving of Dino Drive.
And they're aware that we've
Committed
committed
money.
25,000 to it.
Yeah, although I suppose we'd have to do that again, because it's a new budget year. It would have to be in the proposal that the DDA makes to the board. Maybe that's how this moves forward, budget process, because it's one thing for me to relay that the DDA discussed and has an interest in something. It's another thing to sort of have something that they can take action.
There was discussion to approve paving Dino Drive with a revolving fund and DDA funds. Motion by Hathaway, seconded by Holland. A motion to ask the Scio Township, the Scio Board of Trustees to initiate the SAD estimated at $125,000 to pay the balance of the Dino Drive improvements not covered by the DDA contribution with unanimous approval. That's
I guess it's more than a discussion, sorry.
the minutes that we approved.
Okay.
Twice.
Well,
Sorry, I
so how do we?
was thinking it was a discussion only, but you're right, we actually did vote on something. So we can
We'll just make sure it's on the agenda for the
Yeah,
trustees to
we'll
discuss.
put something on the agenda for the next meeting.
Next week. Poster signs we talked about, again, I've always have the extending the DDA, again, if we issue bonds, the DDA's gotta be in existence for the next 20 years to be able to pay those bonds, so we need the DDA extended if we ever decide to issue bonds, which we may not, but you still have to extend it, so I think we'll look at that a little bit more next year. Smooch project, I believe is complete.
I still think we need to hire an administrator for DDA if we're gonna move forward with that. And that we need to investigate, do a search or something, or.
Maybe a consultant.
Consultant or administrator, but we need to have somebody do it because you don't have time to do the heavy lifting. I'm too old to do the heavy lifting and it's a big heavy lift to do that.
Yep.
In the township, the administrator's not gonna do it. I think that's how it was handled last time. It was extended. And but it's been a long
I
time.
mean, there's some public meetings we would have, Traverse City did it,
Well, then do we wanna,
I think if we have a consultant, that might be good.
okay, I move that we proceed with a search for a consultant or administrator for Scio Township Downtown Development Authority.
For the purpose of extending the DDA.
Not just for the purpose of extending the DDA, but to help with identifying projects, anything that we may need, but including to do administration of the DDA, including the search of the extension of the DDA. No second? Okay, it's
I checked on the.
No, I'm trying to write it down. So to do administrative work of the DDA, including extension,
initiate,
initiate the extension of the life, I don't know the words.
Answer all questions, maintenance, et cetera.
I mean, we're empowered by our bylaws to hire that person if we want to.
Okay.
So your motion is that the DDA move to hire a DDA consultant for the purpose of
Consultant or administrator.
board administrator. For the purpose of doing administration of the DDA, including researching extension.
That's the word I was looking for, researching the extension. Thank you.
I think Gus did.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
I guess, question, do you have a dollar amount in mind, just from a budget standpoint?
I don't, but that was just if we're gonna post it, so you're thinking we might post it, is what you're thinking?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think there's somebody that needs to, it's great that we all meet every 2 months and, Bob's very active, but
There's more work that.
there's more work. I mean, we're doing what we can with what we have, but if we want this to continue to be a thing and continue to grow, somebody needs to, at least part-time, at least at this point. Somebody needs to be in charge of it.
So not knowing the market, I don't know what to put on there as far as a.
It was just more of a question from a budget standpoint. And it's really a question twofold. If we have somebody that's a true employee, they're gonna cost more than a consultant will, right? Most likely.
That's a consultant might be better just to start out with. I just think you guys are all business owners, smart people in here. I just think we got a good group here. We gotta get somebody else to do what we could do.
I think,
It's always the person outside town that's smarter than, I
but
don't think so.
it's maybe not even be that, it's that, what are they going to do? Right, I know there's always been conversations around things, and honestly, I do everything like a week before the meeting, right? And I'm like, gosh, if there was a meeting every month, I actually have 2 times or, double. So it's what are they gonna do? I think there is a lot of stuff. I do agree. There could be more. I don't think it's a full-time job.
Posting it on the website for Scio Township is probably not enough to find it.
Right.
Do we want to put it forward to someone as a job headhunter? Do we want to advertise it in technical manuals? I'm thinking about, there's a tech homecoming event that's gonna happen November 22 next week. There's about 2,000 people coming back into town that we know of that are coming to see their parents.
What
We're having
about,
a
what
fair
about
to try and
hiring
get
a,
them to come.
what about hiring a search firm to
Yeah,
facilitate?
how do we do it?
I think we need a job description, right? I'm happy to
That's
help
what I'm
write that.
saying.
I'm happy to help
First
write
thing-
that.
Yeah.
And we can go through and pick out, we could, probably an hour call.
Yeah.
We could figure out all the things that we could have done.
Can I suggest Amy Sell? I mean, we've used her for
Right,
a
but we
lot of
still have to get a
searches.
job description for her.
She,
Yeah.
that's one of the things she helps with is putting together a job description. She's, I'm sure, done searches for DDA
Yeah.
consultants in other municipalities before.
Right, yeah, I know her well.
Here's the question, I guess. Do we wanna wait till January to start this process, or do you want to do it somehow?
Jennifer actually raised a good point. We're meeting still every other month. And so if what we're really serious about is the DDA sort of stepping up, what it does, what it accomplishes, probably meeting every month is with, a step we could take as a board that would move things along a little
Things would
bit
happen
faster.
faster.
It would, you need to have a job description. Okay, you need to, then somebody needs to take the apps. Who's gonna take the apps and review the apps? Where are they gonna go to? They're gonna go to Bob, he's already up to his neck. Where are they gonna go? Okay, second of all, who's gonna make the judgment to hire the person? What is the salary for the person? And what questions do we have? What do we want them to do?
I
What
think,
exactly we want them to do? Someone should put all those together before we
So
hire a
you're saying we
person.
need a committee?
yes,
Perhaps, yes, 2 or 3
Well,
people
or-
put down together.
Yeah, I think a consultant would be the first step, because you're talking about payroll, if I could even, we all.
2 or 3 of us should sit down and talk about it.
Linda,
I'm
as they were
sorry.
saying, basically, hire a head on our,
But I'm happy to
would
help
be your
with this.
committee.
Okay.
Amy Sell does do this, I agree with Will, and she can help you write the job description, she can help you get it posted in the right places, and then if you wish to pay her to do so,
She's a
she will
consultant.
vet the.
She's a consultant.
She's a consultant.
She's a consultant, she's the consultant that helped us find the new township manager. She
She's
does,
helping.
She's
find the
assisted
new
with a
fire
number of
chief and
She's
fire
very
chief.
What do you
active.
think it'll cost to hire her?
well, that's the question.
What happens usually is that turn to Amy Sell, her firm, and then they produce a proposal. So we would probably be getting a proposal that we would then approve at our next meeting.
Sure.
I think that's probably the prudent way to proceed, and at least we get a job description out of it. And then at the next meeting, if we don't like that proposal, we can go elsewhere.
So we wanna meet in December? Is that too soon?
Do you wanna meet, we used to meet monthly when the road was going, then we slowed it down. It's always been bi-monthly for a while. We can meet monthly if you feel like it would help speed up things, I guess, but I don't know.
Can we meet for this?
Yeah, just
We're
this.
gonna hire, can we have a meeting for like an hour? Because,
I just,
this, this meeting is.
let's table this.
It's a good idea.
Maybe we can have a special meeting
Just
for
for an
this.
hour, just for half an hour?
I just see, I see boards all the time do this. They hire outside people to pass the buck. I mean, we're the ones making decisions. We're very capable, but
Correct.
I'm not opposed to hiring a consultant, but an employee would be in. That's that.
We need to know exactly what we're looking from that person. Exactly what we're looking at, and how long is that person gonna work for us? Is it gonna be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months?
Right,
What's
exactly.
it gonna be?
Right.
I mean,
Projects or.
that's what
Is this a special meeting, the DDA that's being called for December?
I'm correct.
What
Yes.
Well, we have to,
Post it.
well, yes, but we also have to check about availability of the meeting space and fit it into the schedule of other meetings, so we can't just sort of like pick it out of the air.
I mean, we could at least say subject to availability. We could pick a date, subject to
Oh,
availability.
we could say the first Monday in December.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and,
December 12th?
and just cross our fingers.
December 2nd.
Yeah,
Oh, Monday, that'd be the 40th.
The fourth,
the 4th
Okay,
at noon.
okay.
It's probably available.
okay.
Okay,
Do we
For
call
the
it a
sole
special?
purpose of talking about hiring a consultant,
Correct.
employee, whatever you wanna call it. Just the one subject,
That's it.
okay?
No, we're gonna have to post that though, right?
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
but you know, you can post within, I think, 18 hours.
Oh, that's right, I forget, yeah.
You know, but you know, we'll be more than 18 hours ahead.
I just think if all of us put an extra half an hour, you know.
Do we want to
December
ask
4th, right?
anyone to do any research prior to this, or do we just wanna come and start Googling things?
Yeah,
and get it?
if you really wanna move this along, we could sort of the same,
I don't know what
Motion, we
Amy
could-
Sell
we
is.
could- we could
I'd
approach-
research that.
we could approach Amy Sell and.
Well, I don't know who she is.
She's a consultant who does headhunting, you know, basically executive searches for, in one of the categories that she
I'd look,
handles is
I know,
municipalities.
I'd look her up first.
She's deep pockets and insight.
Dealing with ideas.
Mhm, yes, yes, please do, but I mean, I also.
I know you do, but I could do it myself too. It's all, it seems like she's done a lot for Scio, but I don't think the four of us get to, maybe we hire her.
Well, we're just thinking, we wanna have her do a presentation.
That's fine.
Invite her to do a presentation, but the topic of this special meeting is this question of how to meet this need. I think as long as you describe it that way, then we are allowed to sort of talk about things beyond simply hiring. That's all.
Do we need to meet,
All right,
have a
well,
posted at a
special meeting,
Do we?
we need to vote on that.
I was just thinking maybe a committee would.
All those in favor say aye to special meeting in December for this one topic of hiring,
Well,
possibly hiring a consultant.
of addressing this need for
Time out.
some kind of.
Can I time out for
Potential need.
More
For a second.
more discussion.
discussion, Brother Chairman? Can we just have a committee just for us meet? We don't have to post nothing, we're not doing
Yeah,
anything.
we just do a committee, we don't have to post it.
Right. Because we're not dealing with any money, we're not dealing with that, we're just dealing with an idea,
I think everybody wants input though,
okay?
right?
Alright, that's fine.
Okay, well, if we're doing a motion, who's the first and who's the second?
Jay and Gus.
as a
Gentlemen, I don't know that he can do that.
Yes, it's fine.
Good.
So December 4th
I certainly made a
at
motion.
noon, assuming that it's available, we would be here.
Is the motion, is that all right?
Yes, second the motion.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, I have one more question because I want to clarify so we get this done. The motion for the treasurer, so the motion to instruct the Scio Township treasurer to move $3 million of DDA funds checking and the money market, and I'll spell it out, to the Michigan Class Fund, pending verification of federal insurance. Sweep all of the money out of the checking account except for $50,000 and leave the money market account as the base. Is this existing? The check, I'm just asking if the checking account probably isn't getting any interest.
Sounds very accessible.
2,000,009.
Yep, that works for me.
And the money market is getting some interest at 1,000,008.
Yes, but not much.
Before you go.
Yep.
You gotta let us.
So may I amend the motion to add
Sure, that's for the buildings.
language that gives her
Sure,
specific
that's
instruction?
High water
Yeah,
usage.
50 grand.
What's that letter?
I'm not sure
You
it's
got a
even
copy of that letter?
necessary, but yeah.
Well, you can't just say move.
I have it at my.
Motion to adjourn.
Whoa, wait, there's something else that you have on here, the bus shelters.
Oh, just that we completed them.
Yeah,
Oh.
but there's, I was waiting until that came up to, because I wanted to inform people that there's more bus shelters coming, right? So the Lithia project, one of the community benefits there is that they're giving a bus shelter. There's bus shelter money from the Woodview Commons that came into, I believe, the DDA. I think that's where it was placed.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah, because I think the idea is that the DDA is sort of, the body that is, making bus shelters happen. Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up, Jay, because
Planning commission tells people you have to give us a community benefit, and then tells them to give it to do it to DDA.
well, I'm not saying that the planning commission did this. I'm saying that the funds came in and I noticed that when they did so, they were placed in the DDA account. Now, if we don't want that, if the DDA wants to disavow responsibility for bus shelters, that's okay, but the DDA did work to create bus shelters, and so there is sort of logic to,
Yeah, do something.
No, I like it.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Again, hopefully keep them uniform. A little bit, maybe.
well, that's a conversation with Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority, because they seem to have
They
a position
approved,
on this.
they approved, there was 5 different people before those, but they approved that.
So just to be clear, there's funding
For bus
in
shelters.
hand
Right.
from one developer, and there's funding coming from another developer for the purpose of creating bus shelters along Jackson
I don't see them
or in the DDA district.
in the 1031 numbers yet. It's something that's just happened.
No, it's been there for a while. I will have to double check how it got posted, but I will tell you upfront,
Gonna have the managers page back there.
there was a misunderstanding over that particular money. So it is most likely misposted right now.
Well, I'm just, if we're going to accept responsibility for it, we need to make sure it gets posted.
Well, we need to make sure that they correctly gave it to
I'm not
us.
sure.
I don't,
No,
I would be surprised.
No, it is definitely in
I'm
the
not
EDA money.
That's a good point, but I'm not sure that there's anything for us to do right now. I just wanted to
Yeah,
raise
no,
it when
that's
this
good.
came up on the agenda, so we
Sandy,
didn't
can you
lose
try and
sight of
find
it, and
I
the
will
board was
find
aware of it.
money and I will let you know when I send out
There's a letter.
the information on the,
The donated
It
money.
says we use it.
I have a sneaky suspicion it got credited against the ones we paid for.
To contact the city, well, the city involved.
Well,
That's
you know,
fine,
this
but-
place is not great on communication on things.
It's nice, so we'll have access hopefully to some tree fund money, new bus shelter money.
So just to be clear, because I was a little distracted when you guys were talking about the city funds. so
Could you
that-
folks, before you dismiss yourselves, could you folks do public comments since you weren't allowing us to do that at the
Oh,
beginning?
that's a good point. Public
Thank
comment
you.
wasn't really online before, so, but just, could you clarify the tree fund, because I was distracted when you
Well,
guys.
just a
were
letter
talking.
that we wrote asking for the tree fund to pay for the road.
So you want the DDA, that's a formal request from the
To the
DDA
board.
board to the township board. Okay, so that plus now that I am reminded of
And the SAD.
the SAD for Dino Drive, those are 2 formal sort of actions by this board to the township.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then in addition to that is the request to the treasurer.
Yes.
Okay, and I actually, I'm glad Jonathan brought that up, because I was gonna bring that up too. We sort of missed the opportunity for public comment.
So if there's any public comments to be made, since we didn't have the Zoom at the beginning, go ahead. Jonathan, is there any comments from you? I don't know.
Yeah, just a couple. Thank you very much. I appreciate the time. Couple of questions. I'm confused. I thought that I heard Mr. Holland say he had a business in Scio Township. Where is that located?
It's not a Q&A, Jonathan. If you make public comments, go ahead. You can do some research if you want, but this
I
is
did the
not a
research and
Q&A.
I'm not able to find it.
This
And
is
so
not
you're
a-
being hostile. I'm asking a
Yeah, I'm being
question.
hostile again because it's not a Q&A.
No. I have 3 minutes to speak
Happy
and
to
I
answer
get
that question.
interrupted by you.
Wait,
You need to understand that you're obligated to follow the rules of the Open Meetings Act. You're a legal entity
Let him finish
and you
and
are
then you can-
responsible for complying with the OMA. If you are going to not let us speak and interrupt me while I'm trying to make my point, we could take this further, but your arrogance and your bossiness is not going to work on me.
Well, there's some questions on even Open Meetings Act.
I'm asking
that
you to be
allowed.
quiet
And
while I give
Jonathan,
my
letting you
public
talk
statement.
Now is actually
I'm asking you to
outside the
be
Open
quiet
Meetings
while I
Act, so
give
go
my
ahead.
public statement.
Go ahead.
What a pompous individual who thinks he can just talk over the public and tell us that our voice doesn't matter. Jay, did you want to answer the question?
I would welcome answering that question. I run a company called Bayport Investors, LLC.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all I was asking. Didn't need to go that right.
We haven't.
Gentlemen, could you also please try to get your meetings posted on the website in time along with a link so we can get, I mean, it's not rocket science. It feels deliberate. And you're laughing at my comments, just furthers your clear biased attitude
I'm
and
with you on this
dislike
one,
of
Jonathan.
public people.
I'm with you on this one.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, have a good day. And
I'd like to
lady.
make a motion.
Wait, I think there's one more hand raised,
Okay.
I see.
What would I like to make a motion?
Anybody else? Hey, Rob.
Rob Pattinson, Scio Township resident. Several months ago, there was a joint meeting with the Planning Commission, the Board of Trustees, and the DDA. And at that meeting, we started to talk about the public benefit aspect of PUDs. And now we've got this December meeting coming up. And the DDA is a critical part of PUDs in Scio Township. And I would ask all of you to start thinking about how we establish a policy of public benefit to get a fair policy in place that will help the fire department, help developers have a clear picture of what they're going to need to do when they come into Scio Township to establish businesses. So that, because right now we're very reactive and it's a case-by-case basis. I would hope that all of you start gearing towards a policy that will help developers and the township, most especially now that we lost the fire SAD. We're going to need to get some infrastructure income in for replacing equipment for the fire department, that sort of thing. And then also at that meeting, I asked Supervisor Hathaway about the qualifications of Jay Holland and Jeff Hershey. Mr. Holland has explained that. Will, you said you were going to look into that. What was your decision about Jeff Hershey's eligibility?
Should I respond? Okay. So Rob, I did look into that. Actually, Kathleen Brandt, who's also present here, raised this issue as well. And together with DDA Chair Stites, we looked into this and we determined that Jay Holland does have a business and is therefore eligible under the criteria for serving on the DDA board to continue serving on the DDA board, and that Jeff Hershey is a resident of Scio Township, and given the criteria for the makeup of the board, he is also eligible to continue serving on the DDA board.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks. Any other questions out there?
Kathleen, you're present. Do you want us? No.
You good?
And then I heard you say something, Jay. No. Okay.
Next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're done. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
I.
Motion passes. Thanks. Good meeting.
1:59 PM.
Wow. For us. Shut us down.
Yeah.